They demonized our spirituality to control us. When you hear the word witch, what comes to your mind? Is it a woman who lives in the forest, perhaps with pointy ears and a wart on her nose? Or maybe you think of a hunched old woman stirring a bubbling cauldron while chanting creepy incantations? These are the witches of European folklore, witches that have been popularized by books and movies, like Harry Potter and The Witch Project. But did you know that there is more to the story? In this video, we will be looking at the origins of the word witch, and how it was used to demonize and criminalize African spirituality. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's get into it. The word witch is thought to originate from the Old English word wic, which referred to a person who lived outside the bounds of society, someone who was not a Christian. In other words, a witch was anyone who did not conform to the religious norms of their community. This definition is quite broad and could include a wide range of people, from those who simply did not believe in Christianity to those who actively practiced other religions or even just had unconventional beliefs or behaviors. As Christianity began to spread throughout Europe, those who did not convert were often seen as a threat to the new religion. And so the term which began to take on a more negative connotation, people who were accused of being witches were often persecuted and even killed. Now, let's fast forward to pre-colonial Africa. For centuries, African societies had their own rich and diverse spiritual traditions, which often involved communicating with the spirit world through rituals and ceremonies. Some of these rituals may have seemed strange or frightening to outsiders, but they were an integral part of African culture and religion. However, when European colonizers arrived in Africa, they saw African spirituality as a threat to the dominance of Christianity. To control the African population, they needed to break their connection to their cultural roots, including their spiritual beliefs and practices. So they began to demonize African spirituality, portraying it as evil and heretical. One way they did this was by labeling those who practiced African spirituality as witches and wizards. This was a clever tactic, as the term which had already been used to persecute people in Europe for simply not conforming to Christian beliefs. By using the same term to describe African spiritual leaders, the colonizers were able to paint them in a negative light and make it easier to control and suppress their influence. Accusations of witchcraft became a tool to target individuals who were respected members of their communities. Leaders, healers, and those who held knowledge that was deemed harmful to colonial rule. It didn't matter if someone was actually practicing witchcraft or not. The label itself was enough to tarnish their reputation and put them in danger. In some cases, African spiritual leaders were arrested and imprisoned simply because they were accused of witchcraft. In other cases, they were tortured and killed. And even today, the legacy of this persecution lives on in the form of stereotypes and discrimination. Sadly, many Africans have internalized the negative view of witchcraft, and some actively participate in the persecution of suspected witches. It is a sad reality that the very people who suffered under colonial rule are now perpetuating the same oppression and control over their own communities. But it's important to remember that witchcraft is not inherently bad. It is simply a different way of understanding the world, and one that should be respected and celebrated just like any other religion or belief system. So next time you hear someone say that witchcraft is evil or that all witches should be burned, remember that it was only through demonization and propaganda that African spirituality was transformed into something scary and negative. In reality, it is a beautiful and empowering way of life that should be cherished and passed down to future generations. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Also, don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.